Welcome, it's Sinome, and this video is going to be a little bit different one to what I usually make. So in this video we're going to talk about dry fasting and pretty much everything I know about dry fasting after doing it myself for 2 days and as well for researching it for over 20 hours going into the dry fasting. And previously I have done water fasts in my life, 6 of them to be total, and the longest water fast I have ever done is about 8 days, or it was 8 days. I broke it on the 8th day. So this is going to be a little bit lengthy video. There will be timestamps under the video as well, but I'm just a guy on the internet. I don't have any doctor's degree, anything like that. So whatever I give you as information, you can use this information, but this is not the ultimate truth, most likely. But this is just my experience and what I have found out. And I will show you a bunch of before and after photos of people who have done a dry fast. We will talk about why people do a dry fast. We're going to talk about, let's say, esoteric stuff as well, and something that just is probably not in the conventional knowledge. And the reason I'm making this video is that dry fasting seems to be very under documented, and it's even under researched, the benefits and even the downsides of dry fasting. So that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video, so I can pretty much condense the 20 hours of what I was researching into one single video for you guys. And there will be a bunch of links under the description as well if you want to research this on your own, which I highly recommend you do as well. So that was the intro. Now let's actually, before I talk about the spiritual stuff, why people do it, let's actually just watch a couple of before and after photos of people who have done this. So you can actually do this on your own as well. You can simply go into YouTube and you can search for dry fasting. You can type 10 days, you can type dry fasting experience, you can type dry fasting 3 days, and you will get a bunch of different results. And there are a lot of people who have done this dry fast, and you can basically get their experience, what they have done and why they did it and what basically happened. But some of these videos are fake. Like I saw one girl who looked very healthy, very beautiful, and she said that she was doing a water fast for over 100 days, which I just completely don't believe at all. So there's some fakes here as well, but a lot of these are genuine, which are quite interesting. Like this girl here, she's dancing at the beginning of the video, but unfortunately she doesn't give us before and after photo in this video, and this guy doesn't show a before and after either. And then there's a bunch of other ones. You have to scroll pretty much further down, and as you can see, I have watched this video, I have watched this video, I've watched so many videos here, but this is the first one that I saw that was quite interesting. So let's actually get the results of this guy here. So when we go and take a look at the video, this is what he looked before going into the dry fast, and you can watch this complete video to basically see how this couple, they did it together, how they're basically managing. They felt pretty tired going into the fast, and they were very happy at the end. But this is what he looks like at the end of the fast. So you can clearly see that he lost weight, he lost fat, he lost water weight, and you can see more definition here on his body. You can see his abs a little bit more clearly, and he looks quite healthy as well at the end of the fast. And you can even see the weight gain at the end of the video. I haven't done this. Let's actually see if we can get it. Just skipped it. Yeah, now we get it. So this is when he ended the fast. He weighed 81.7 kilograms, and this is the weight gain after the fast. And he was able to actually keep the weight a little bit lower than he had going into the fast. So there's that guy. Then we had this girl here, and she is documenting she was documenting her weight loss during a dry fast. And as you can see, she was doing a juice diet going to the dry fast, and these are the different ways that she was losing during the juice diet, but then she decided to do a dry fast. And you can also see her progress. You can go and take a look at her videos. She will make a video on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. And this is the basically before and after. So here you can see her progress. She was losing about 2.5 pounds per day roughly, and that equates to a little over 1 kilogram per day was the weight loss that she experienced during this dry fast. And you can see the before and after photos of her also in the same video here, and you can clearly see that she lost quite a bit of weight here. And I'm not gonna show all of the pictures, but you can pretty much say that she looks much better right now, or after the dry fast as well. So there's that. Then there's this guy. He did a 5-day dry fast as well. You can see he had some inflammation on the eye as well as on the other eye, and both eyes seem to have healed at least a little bit, not completely, and the redness over his face seems to be a lot better as well at the end of the fast. And then he did another dry fast, which was a little over 4 days, so 108 hours. So this was a different fast at a different time, and this is basically his muscle body composition. You can see he didn't actually lose that much muscle, which might be a little bit weird for some people who are not used to fasting. During a fast, you're not actually losing a lot of muscle if you do it correctly. So that's quite interesting here as well. And then there was this guy. He did a 72-hour dry fast, and you can see he's already quite muscular, and pretty much I don't see any real problems, at least on the outside. But at the end of the 72 hours, you can see that he lost quite a bit of water, at least. I don't know how much muscle he or fat he lost, but he looks pretty shredded at the end of the fast as well. And he was very happy here in the video as well. And then obviously there's this guy as well. He was weighing a lot, so his weight was 545 pounds at the start, and at the end he actually lost 33 pounds. And you cannot really see a difference in the body composition. The angle is very difficult to see, and the lighting is it's not easy to see the difference here. But that's pretty nice for 7-day dry fast. He's a big guy, so there was that, and there was a bunch of other ones, but I actually want you to take a look at this guy. So this is probably the, let's say, the messiah of dry fasting, and you can find him on YouTube. His name is Fasting with Trevor, and he also has an Instagram page, and he has done probably the, let's say, world record for dry fasting, but unfortunately it's not supervised dry fasting in a way where we can actually definitely say that he was dry fasting this whole time. But I believe him, so you basically have to go on his word. And he has done these 18-day dry fast, he has done 20-day dry fasts, and he's constantly doing this, and he has been doing this for many years. One interesting thing about him is especially his skin looks very nice, and all of these are documented, and you can see basically his thought process and basically spiritual awakening through fasting as well. And he has an Instagram page, and here you can see a bunch of before and after photos as well. So let's actually take a look at, you can see his basically baseline here when he's not fasting, and here you can see his face at day 9 and face at day 20. You can see it's quite dry already, and a lot of water has left the body as well. But he's very happy. He's let's say very excited about dry fasting, and he still has more goals going further and understanding the world better. This is his baseline, so he seems to be quite healthy even though he's doing these extreme dry fasts. And you can see a bunch of before and after photos here as well. And even down here you can see his experience after a 20-day hard dry fast from 2021. So this was before going into the dry fast. A little bit, let's say, extra weight has arrived in his body, and this was at the end of the dry fast, very dry and very skinny as well. So personally, I am not trying to achieve any 20-day hard dry fast, but what I'm aiming for is to go past day 4 into, let's say, 7-day dry fast. It would be at least nice to try. So these were a bunch of before and after photos, but there's a bunch of other reasons also why to do a dry fast. So let's talk about those first, and we will talk about science stuff later on. So one key figure in history who has done long periods of fasting is obviously Jesus. So Jesus, according to Bible, was fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. And the reason he wanted to fast for this period of time was that he wanted to be tempted by the devil, and he also wanted to become closer to God. So at the end of the 40 days, it was said that he was now full of the Holy Spirit. And because you are basically torturing yourself, starving yourself, your body starts to actually release these, let's say, DMT or hallucinogens, and you have these spiritual experiences as well. And everything, at least when I was doing the dry fast for 2 days, it felt like everything was so beautiful, and I was so ultra relaxed from the dry fasting. So I think there's something there to it. And only after this 40-day fast, Jesus actually went on his travels where he did the miracles and he was teaching and preaching the word of God. And many say that it was the temptation or the starvation or the fasting that prepared him for his mission and ministry. So he was able to get some spiritual powers from fasting as well. And obviously fasting is very religious. Many religions do it. There's the Ramadan, obviously, which is a 29-day period where you are basically intermittent fasting through 29 days. Then there's the Baha'i fasting as well, which is 19 days, and there are a bunch of other ones as well. But religions have done fasting for a long period of time, but this has actually been forgotten in most modern religions. Like Christians don't really fast anymore at all, even though it was at some point many people were fasting on Sundays. So we have basically forgotten this sacred secret. So anyway, Jesus was one, religions are one. But when we come back to real life from this, one key figure in history who has done this fast is obviously Mahatma Gandhi. And when you think about Mahatma Gandhi, you probably think of someone who is quite skinny, but also spiritually awakened, powerful figure. People wanted to listen to him. And he actually was using fasting as a weapon for his political goals. And he did the 7-day fast, 1-day fast, 3-day fast, and his longest fast was 21 days. And he was basically playing everybody because you get a lot of benefit from fasting, but he turned it into a weapon where he said that this is a hunger strike and I will not comply until I will not eat until you comply. And he was able to gather a lot of followers from this practice here. So Gandhi, very interesting figure, but all in all, a lot of fasting done by Gandhi. It's not necessarily dry fasting, but I just want to highlight fasting in general as well. And now let's actually talk about the physiological stuff, and let's start talking about the science for dry fasting, and then I will talk about my personal experience. So this website here is the National Library of Medicine, and it is the PubMed Central. So this is basically a hub where people who have published scientific studies and journals, they also are all collected here. Not all of them, but many different studies are collected here. So it's like a library of scientific research, scientific studies, and you can get a lot of interesting information here. And this one is from 2016, and it's basically estimating the number of human and bacteria cells in the body. And what they conclude here is that when you have a human body, which is about 70 kilograms, you actually have about 30 trillion human cells inside you and 38 trillion bacteria. So you have more bacteria inside your body than you actually have your own cells. So this is why I'm talking about dry fasting, because many people don't even know that they have such a large amount of bacteria, parasites inside their body. And whenever you eat something, you are basically cultivating these bacteria and cultivating these parasites in your body. So based on your diet, you probably have bacteria and parasites that are suited to that diet, that environment. So if you eat a lot of sugars, then you have bacteria that eat and thrive on sugars. But if you don't eat sugars, then you have different kind of bacteria, different kind of parasites. And if you smoke and you have that addiction, the addiction is probably coming from the bacteria. And some bacteria, some parasites are even said to increase sexual appetite in the host, because that way it can spread to other people. So these bacteria and parasites, they implement thoughts, emotions into you, and many people are basically on an autopilot, and the parasites are in charge, and people don't have the self-control to actually do and correct their life, and they are just on a downhill, and eventually obviously everybody dies, but they are not thriving while they are living, because they are simply doing whatever the bacteria tells them to. You might have experienced this, that you are going into a supermarket and you see something sweet, or you see alcohol, or I don't know which addictions you have, but you see it, you were not thinking about it before, but immediately you get this rush through your body, like I have to get it, and you're not even thinking about it, you just grab it and buy it, and then you are consuming it once again. And you might go like nearby a restaurant and you immediately order a hamburger or something like this. So these bacteria are basically in control. So why I'm talking about dry fasting right now is it's a way to reset your body and kill off bacteria inside your body. And when you are in a dry fast and you don't take any food, any water, the body will try to survive. It's in a survival mode, which means that it will try to conserve all of these 30 trillion human cells inside your body, and it will try to discard bacteria, parasites that are living inside your body but are not for your benefit. So it will destroy basically these bacteria, and that way, once you are out of the fast, you can introduce healthier foods. And that's why people always emphasize why it's so important to end the fast in a healthy manner, because when you introduce your first foods back into the body, that's when you have a choice to decide what you want to cultivate inside your body. And the analogy I thought for this is, if you have a farm or if you have a garden, if you want to plant anything inside there, you basically have to mull over the full farm or the garden. And once you have mulled over the garden or farm, that's when you can put new seeds into the ground and decide what you want to grow inside your garden and inside your farm. So that's what the fasting does. It basically mulls over your body, because if you just go into like a carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet, or you take a new supplement into your body, you still have the bacteria inside your body. If you just transition to, let's say, like a carnivore diet, which is quite healthy, in my opinion, from my research, you still have the bad bacteria. And if you fall out of the carnivore diet and you had some problem like autoimmune disease or something like that, and you start eating different foods once again, the problems come back, because the parasites are still inside you and the bad bacteria are still inside you. And when you introduce the new stuff, that's when they start to grow once again. But if you want to eliminate them completely, you have to do something dramatic. You have to do a parasite cleanse, or you have to do a water fast or dry fast. Probably you can destroy the bacteria with with medicine as well, but those have a lot of other problems, because then it basically lowers your immune system down, which allows other bacteria to come inside you, and then you have a bunch of different side effects as well. So that's like a physical reason why dry fasting is very, very important. And I'm sorry I wasted a lot of time on this, but this parasite and bacteria concept is such a huge part of fasting, which people just don't know. So I wanted to highlight this here as well. And then actually let's talk about another YouTube channel, which is called Dry Fasting Club. And this guy only has 3.6 thousand subscribers, but he has done so many videos on dry fasting. And this is like just a wealth of knowledge that he has accumulated in these videos. And he also has a website called dryfastingclub.com. And on this website, we're going to spend a little bit of time here. He claims that he has done 300 days of dry fasting in just a couple of years. So if you actually calculate it out, let's say he did it in, he said he has been water fasting for over 15 years and dry fasting just a few years ago. So let's say he has dry fasted 3 or 4 years. If you calculate that he has dry fasted for 300 days, that means that basically every 4th day has been a dry fasting day for him over this period of time, which sounds a little bit, let's say, unreasonable. But when I watched or read through the articles here, they seem quite genuine. And this guy, Yannick Wolf, he is actually he used to have these diseases. I'm not going to say them out loud because I don't want to get demonetized, but he's a molecular biologist in his field. So that's why he's sharing these measurements. He's sharing this information here as well, because he thinks this is under-researched topic, which is completely true as well. So he has done many 3-day fast, 5-day fast, 7-day fast, 9-day, and even 11-day fasts. And this guy, compared to Trevor, fasting with Trevor, he says that the best fasting is 7 or more days. And this guy is saying basically that you get into the deep cleaning zone after 3-day dry fast. So you get the best benefits from 3 to 7 days. That's what he is basically claiming, and that's what his research is concluding. And he says that if you want to cure a disease, you basically have to have about 20 days of dry fast or deep dry fasting, which means that, let's say you do 1 7-day dry fast, 4 days of that is deep cleaning. So you have to do 5 of those 7 dry fasting periods to basically clean something out. Whereas Trevor, fasting with Trevor, what he says is that you have to actually get into day 13 or 14, and then you are probably clean of these different diseases and bacteria and parasites that may have infiltrated into your body and causing all of these different problems inside the body. So anyway, that's just a couple of different takes here. I don't know which one of them is real or true. I'm just sharing you for you to basically think about and make a conclusion on your own. And I don't think there's anything interesting in this article here, but there's a bunch of different articles that I want to talk about. First is his blood test from April 2024. So he was testing the blood after a 5-day dry fast. And going into this dry fast, he was on a carnivore high-fat diet, which raises cholesterol levels. And after the dry fast, here are the results. So he was high on cholesterol, he was high on LDL, and obviously there's the discussion or debate if high cholesterol is actually bad for you or not. I'm not gonna get into that, but according to the current standards, those were high. But everything else is in range. So there's no problem in anything else except for urine creatine, which is low according to this number here. But everything else seemed to be fine on the blood test on 5-day dry fast. And then he made a post here, which I thought was quite interesting, for basically how the body generates water during a dry fast. Because when you are on a dry fast, what at least I was thinking is that I'm gonna dry out and I'm gonna be dead after like 3 days or so. So that's not actually the case, because when you have fat, you can burn the fat for fuel, and that's how water fasting works. But you can also turn that fat into water inside your body. So here is the scientific calculation or chemical reaction. So when you have a fat cell, which is a bunch of carbons, hydrogen and oxygen, and you breathe in air, it turns into CO2 and it actually turns into H2O as well. So some of the water actually goes out from your body as you exhale, but some of it is retained and the body can actually use it. And this is the purest form of water there is. So this is probably even healthier water than you can get from drinking tap water or drinking bottled water. So this is very, very pure water that you are getting from this, which is quite nice. And here is the calculation. So he concluded here that 1 gram of average body fat would produce approximately 1.12 grams of water. But because you exhale some of the water out, which is not calculated here, I would say you're basically getting 1-to-1 ratio. So when you're losing fat, you're gaining as much water. And as you saw, at least from the one lady that we looked, she was losing about 2.5 pounds of weight per day. So if that all was fat, then that means that you're basically gaining about 2.5 pounds of water per day, and in liters that's about a little over 1 liter per day in water. But because the body also has water storages, you are basically having even more water than that 1 liter or 2.5 pounds, if that sounds low. But you are getting drier as you dry fast, so just keep that in mind as well. So there was that. Is there something else here? There's a bunch of, these results are quite interesting. So this is the guy, the Yannick that we're talking about right now. So this was him at the start of the fast, and this is him at the end of the fast. And not really much difference, as you can see, especially the muscles are still there. You can see a, decrease in body fat here and probably water weight as well. But not a lot of difference, just visually looking from the outside. This was interesting. Here you can also see his weight loss during the dry fast. So as you can see, when you calculate it out, it's basically the same 2.5 pounds per day in lost weight, and it's pretty consistent throughout the dry fast. So if you want to do a very, very long dry fast, then it's actually, if that is, I don't know for what reason, but if that is your goal, then you should actually tank in some fat so you can prolong the dry fast. But obviously I don't think that's recommended, but if you want to do it, that's basically the way to do it. So that was an interesting chart here as well. Nothing else really from dry fasting, except I think I have to mention this, that he is selling a membership here. So fasting in general is cheap. It's completely free, especially dry fasting. You are not consuming anything. It's completely free. But if you want this guy to actually help you, he is selling a membership for a whopping $5 per month. I haven't subscribed to this, but I just want to give it to you to basically analyze for yourself if you can trust this guy or not. And there's a bunch of different articles here to look at, and I found them quite interesting. And then there's a bunch of studies also that we can take a look at on the PubMed website. So let me actually refresh these so they work like that. And what you can do here is you can type in dry fasting in these parentheses, and when you do that, you should get about 32 results in total. So like I said, this is very under-researched topic. So if there's only 32 studies that even say the word dry fasting, and most of them are not actually even talking, the actual study is not about dry fasting. It's very low amount. I don't know why it's not currently working. Dry fasting is not working. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. I will get it to work. Don't worry about it. So let me do this. Sorry for prolonging this video. Okay. I think I got it to work now, yeah. So let's type in dry fasting here in parentheses, and let's search it on the website. It's currently not working for some reason. Anyway, there's 32 results that I got from it. So I guess you just have to take my word. You can come and search for it. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, let's continue and take a look at these individual studies that I had picked for this video. So one study is actually just from 2022, and like I said, this is very under-researched because there was only 32 topics, and many of these studies are just come out in the last couple of years. And this is a dawn to dusk dry fasting, which is intermittent dry fasting during Ramadan. So it was 4 weeks of dry fasting from dawn to dusk, which means that you were able to drink and eat for breakfast before the sun was up, as well as after the sun went down, you were able to eat in that period. So in the day, you had about 14 hours that you were not eating or drinking anything. And there were 14 people here in this study, mean age of 59 years old, and what they got from this is lymphocyte-specific protein, and there was a 19-fold increase at the end of the fast. And when they measured other things here as well, it induced anti-atherosclerotic properties, anti-inflammatory responses, and anti-tumorigenic responses, which means that there's less likely to form a tumor. So you're basically killing cancer with this as well. But as it says in most studies, obviously more research is needed because researchers always need more money. So that's that study, and then another study from 2022, and this is the Baha'i fasting, which is kind of like the Ramadan fasting as well. It's intermittent fast, and this lasts for only 19 days. And this study was done with interviews, questionnaire, and subjective experiences. So this is a religious fast, and similar to Ramadan. Basically, I don't know what's the absolute difference, but it's dawn to dusk intermittent dry fasting as well. So that happened there, and 8 million people actually do this worldwide. So if all of these people are doing it, and you're thinking if this is safe, if 59-year-olds can do it, and 8 million people can do it, and there's basically no bad side effects, it's most likely quite safe. That's at least my conclusion from these studies here. But what happened after the study is people lost body mass, obviously. Of course, obviously that's going to happen, but they actually lost fat as well, and there was a reduction in blood glucose, which is quite significant because the higher your blood glucose is, the higher your chances is to develop diabetes 2 and a lot of these what's called lifestyle diseases in the Western countries. So you want lower blood glucose inside your blood. You want to have more pure blood running through your veins, and that will allow you to not die from blood clots as well. And by the way, that's one thing I forgot to mention, but when you have a lot of parasites and bacteria, they create a lot of waste, and the waste goes into your bloodstream, and from the bloodstream it goes out as urine. But the more parasites, more bacteria you have, the more bad stuff you also have in your blood, and those can, by the way, cause blood clots as well. So that's another reason why you want to get rid of the parasites and bad bacteria. So there was that study, and then there was another study from 2023, and this was on type 2 diabetic patients on the Ramadan intermittent dry fasting. And in this study, they had, how many people they had? I scrolled over it. I think they had 97, so roughly 181 participants in this study. Most of the people who are in this study were between 51 and 60-year-olds, and under 40-year-olds was only 25% of the population here, and over 61s is basically the rest. No, there was some 41 to 50-year-olds as well. But anyway, these are the people, and 55% had other medical conditions as well, like cardiovascular disease, respiratory diseases, musculoskeletal problems, and some other problems here as well. So pretty sick people who actually participated in the study here. And what's interesting here is when we take a look at the results, you can see the FBG, which is the fasted blood glucose level before going into the Ramadan fast. This is how much they had the blood glucose, and this is the average after or during the Ramadan intermittent dry fasting. And an interesting thing here is that when they actually looked at how many people had a positive effect and how many actually had a negative or no effect, the positive effect was the largest amount. Almost half of the people had a positive effect. There were 24% who had a negative effect and 32% had no effect. And then when they measured who had a positive effect, who had a negative effect, it seems like the people who were non-adherent to their prescribed medications during Ramadan had the most amount of no benefits. So 87% of all the people who had no benefits basically did not take their medications. And they were also 100% of the people who had negative effects. So no effect and negative effects were only on the people who neglected their medication, which I think is quite interesting. So you probably want to do the dry fasting or fasting before you get into the situation where you already have these very bad situations. And this is the intermittent dry fasting method. This is not a long-term dry fasting study. There were a couple of long-term dry fasting studies, and those were published here on the dryfastingclub.com, and I don't have it available for this video, but basically he's saying that they had a lot of benefit as well. So that's pretty much all we have as for studies. Like I said, this is very under-researched topic. So if you want to do a dry fast, you are basically walking on uncharted waters. Walking on waters. Anyway, that's the real situation there. So many doctors basically don't recommend dry fasting because it's such underreported topic. But the idea here is that you get 3 times the benefit compared to water fasting, because you are the body has to break down the fast cells even faster, and even bacteria can live inside of water. So when you take out the water from the equation, more bacteria are dying, more parasites are dying, and they are dying faster than on a water fast. That's the idea there, and now we can debate if it's actually real or not, but that's at least the idea. And now let's actually talk about finally what was my experience for this 2-day dry fast. So my experience was from Sunday to Tuesday, which was about 41 hours in total. So my typical diet, I eat sauerkraut for healthy bacteria, for probiotics for my body. I take zinc, I take EGCG, which is the green tea extract. I take vitamin D, fish oil, apple cider vinegar, and turmeric. This is basically my typical supplementation. And for food, I normally eat 1 to 2 times per day. So I mix and match between different days. Previously, before going into the dry fast, I was snacking quite a bit, which I wanted to get out of, which was one of the reasons why I wanted this reset. So I do eat healthy and I eat unhealthy foods. If I had to measure, I probably eat more unhealthy foods than healthy foods. And that's why I actually have this supplementation and why I do these fasts as well, is that I can eat more unhealthy foods and I don't have to care about my diet as much, because I can always come back and reset my body and go from there once again. So as preparation, I can say I did the worst possible preparation going into into this dry fast. So like I said, I have done 6 water fasts before, but never a dry fast. And on Saturday, I went to McDonald's and I ate basically from all my calorie intake from food by that time. I didn't eat anything else except that one McDonald's meal, which was double Big Mac burger and a couple of basic hamburgers. And then I started drinking alcohol until basically midnight. I started drinking about 5 p.m. So that's not the best preparation you want to do going into the dry fast, because you want to have a lot of electrolytes and you want to have healthy foods, healthy minerals in storage because that's what you will be using throughout the dry fast, and you're not taking any supplements during the dry fast either. So that's basically what you want to do, but that's not what I did. I had motivation when I had the hangover to actually go into the dry fast. And I also did the worst thing after Saturday. So in Sunday, I had pizza, I had burger, I had instant noodles with pork and some salad and lemon, apple cider vinegar, and zeolite. And zeolite is another supplement I use for basically clearing out heavy metals. And you can also use it for getting less hangovers, by the way. So then on Sunday I had quite a bad sleep, but the first day is quite easy because when you start dry fasting, this was the instant noodles was the last thing I ate on Sunday, and that's when basically the fasting started. So why did I go on the dry fast is because of my skin inflammation. I had some redness and oily skin, and it's very annoying, it's very persistent. Even though I shifted my diet, it's just something I needed to get out of my body, and it's just came back and it came back and it came back. Even though I had these healthy periods, I'm like, okay, I need to do a reset at some point. And for some reason, I just had the motivation on Sunday when I had the hangover. And I have postponed a parasite cleanse for a couple of years now, and I was just curious to try out if this dry fasting actually worked for me as an alternative as well. I might make another video on parasite cleaning, but that's another topic. Another reason is actually, which I didn't list here, is allergies. For some reason, from my childhood, I've been very allergic to many things. I cannot even eat fruits without getting like irritation in my gums, and just a bunch of different allergies as well. And those started to become a little bit worse over time as well. And mostly I was just curious. So during the dry fast, I was eating. It was very easy actually until the midday on Monday, because that's when I usually eat something, and then I started to have some cravings, and I was becoming dry because usually I even drink on mornings, not alcohol, but I take the apple cider vinegar and lemon and just water. Previously I was taking more coffee as well, but I have been trying to get out of coffee lately as well. Did have some cravings, but overall pretty good. But what I noticed on Monday is that I started to have quite a low energy, especially when the kids came out of school and I played with them. I felt like I didn't have much energy. My hands were a little bit weak, muscles were quite weak. But as an upside, I can say I felt very, very relaxed. It's just like I wasn't bothered by anything in the world. I was just happy. I was looking at the beauty of life. That was quite interesting. And Monday to Tuesday, contrary to what other people have had, is I actually slept quite great. And on Monday, I had some minor chest pain, and that's probably from eating so much very bad junk food and alcohol, not exactly from dry fasting, but chest pain is a side effect of dry fasting, by the way. So you might experience some chest pain, and you can just continue with the chest pain. It's probably fine, but if you get intense chest pain, you should completely stop at that point. That's the advice I got from fasting with Trevor, that if you get intense chest pain or serious chest pain, you should stop and basically just listen to your body. And you can stop dry fasting at any time, and you can always come back to it, because next time you do a dry fast, you are stronger and you understand what's to come, and you're wiser, and your body is also more prepared for the dry fast. So you can always end up early, and you probably don't want to cause any problems through that. Tuesday, I did have some cravings, but I felt overall much better than on Monday, and I was gonna continue through Tuesday and continue onwards throughout this week, but I just felt so relaxed, so happy about doing nothing. I was just basically binge watching videos and not really getting any work done. So because I wanted to get some work done, I actually decided I'll just break the fast, and next time I will have more preparation and a better plan going into the dry fast. So that's why I decided to quit on day 2. So anyway, after the dry fast, I currently feel more in control. I feel my head is more clear. It's not like these whispering thoughts that I have to get coffee now, because I wasn't drinking any coffee during this time. Feel like my addictions are much lower. Even I do play some games sometimes. I don't feel like playing games either as of now. So just overall only benefits. My skin is looking much better. My body feels more responsive. I was exercising in the morning and I felt like I had the same power as before going into dry fast. And this says some weight gain, but actually it was weight loss. But it wasn't really my goal. My main goal was my face, as well as the annoying procrastination habits that have creeped into my body. So cleaning out of those was my goal. So that's basically everything there. So as a basically summary is the pros of dry fasting is you will get a complete reset. It is faster than water fasting, but it is under research. So you may want to do a water fast first actually before doing a dry fast because it's easier. But for me, actually, when I did the dry fast, I got less cravings than I do on a water fast, which I thought was quite interesting. Most benefits you only get on after day 3, so I didn't get there, so that's basically my next goal. But you will get mental and physical benefits, and it's probably the fastest form of healing there is to planet right now. And you can heal from basically anything from my understanding. And I could be wrong here, I'm not making any claims, but I'm quite confident that it might be the case, that this is the best form of healing. Like Jesus, he was walking with the diseased people and he had absolutely no fear. Maybe that's the reason, because he knew the secrets of healing. I don't know. Completely free, you don't need anything extra. It's always accessible and it's basically only you. And if you have issues with self-control, this is a very good way to actually get more self-control. You get rid of the parasites that control you, and if you can go past the starvation, go past the pain and torment, you will get more mental power from that alone. It is a parasite cleanse, bacteria cleanse, and after the dry fast, you can basically dictate what you cultivate into your body after that, and where you basically take your body, because the parasites can tell you that, all right, today I don't go anywhere, I just be on my sofa. So now you have more control over what you want to do. And it's actually good for de-stressing. So if you have some anxiety or some mental issues, this is actually quite good. At least for me, I just felt so relaxed throughout I had some bodily pain, obviously, like the heart pain, and my stomach was crumbling, but overall I just felt so relaxed. I haven't felt like that for a long period of time. So I feel like it's good for recovering from stress. It's a spiritual experience completely as well, because at least I felt quite beautiful. Everything was so beautiful for me. I don't know why. But anyway, that's a pro as well. But as for the cons, you are during the fast, you are in a weakened state. It's quite hard to actually do things. And especially on a dry fast, you are more weak than on a water fast. On water fast, once your body gets ketone adapted after day 3, you actually feel like a superpower. You feel like you can do anything. For many people, not for every people, it's individual experience, but for many people on water fast, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, you feel like a superman, and you just have mental clarity. But for dry fast, it might actually be a little bit more difficult, because you are also burning the fat for water. So you are more weakened during a dry fast. So walking, at least people I've noticed, they don't really walk a lot. And like the fasting with Trevor guy, the guy who did these 18-day, 20-day dry fast, when he does those, he goes into an isolated place out of society, and he just stays alone completely in solitude for the duration of the dry fast. And for me, as a family man, I don't have that luxury, so I guess I'm stuck in this shorter dry fasts because I do have to be there for my family as well. But the con also is that if you do longer periods of dry fasting, you do need some planning ahead. Like for me, if I just drink alcohol and go into a dry fast, that might be quite detrimental for my health ultimately as well, because I have the bad stuff inside my body that my body is supposed to use for the fuel, because I'm not putting anything else inside there. And if you get the intense heart pain or kidney pain even on the lower back, then you should actually stop. That was the advice I got from fasting with Trevor. It is, and the con also is that it is a spiritual experience. So for some people, you may actually don't want to face your demons, so to say. So you may actually want to stay away from this. So it's a pro and it's a con. And another con is that people think you are completely crazy when you do anything like this. So it's another reason to do it, actually, from my opinion, because you get more mental power to do things that other people are not willing to do and think is completely nuts. I think these kind of things are always fun. And individual experience may be actually difficult. So some people might find this easier, some people might find this more difficult. And they are, finally, I guess I had to tell you about this as well. So there are different ways to do a dry fast. So one way is the intermittent dry fasting, which seems to not really have downsides, but for some people are actually, who are even doing longer dry fasts, say that you shouldn't do it. But there's just not a lot of research. But if 8 million people are doing it on a yearly basis, it seems like at least for some periods of time, that might be a good idea. You just have to rehydrate quite a bit between the days, so you're not running out of water like gradually. So you have to take in more hydration when you are not in a fasted state. And then there's the hard dry fast. And a hard dry fast, what is a hard dry fast? It is when, so you have the intermittent dry fast, then you have a hard dry fast, and then you have the soft dry fast. So hard dry fast, it means that you don't even touch water, because apparently you can absorb water through the skin because it gets so dry. So that can happen, and even if you brush your teeth with water, that can actually enter into circulation. So if you do a hard dry fast, that is the way to basically get the most amount of benefit. But a soft dry fast seems to work, at least for me, and that's basically what I did. I did a soft dry fast for the first day or the first morning, and the second day I actually just brushed my teeth with a dry toothbrush and did not shower in the morning, and that's when I broke my fast. So I don't know if there's much science between hard and soft. You probably have to look into this on your own. But after I showered, I felt more hydrated inside my body as well, and that's what I saw other people who had made these videos as well talk about, that when they showered, it felt like that alone gave them more weight. There was this one guy who did, I think, a 104-hour dry fast. He said he showered at the end and he got 2 pounds of more weight after the shower. So it sounds a little bit crazy. I don't know if it's true. There's one post on Dry Fasting Club that talked about this effect as well. So overall, you have to decide what you want to do. Personally, at least for the first day, I did the soft dry fast, and I will probably do a soft dry fast next time as well, at least on the first day, and then I will go into a hard dry fast maybe later on. I'm not 100% sure what my plan for the future, but that's pretty much everything I learned in roughly 20 hours of researching this and doing this on my own. And that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you at least got something out of it. Maybe you think I'm even crazier than before watching this video, but if you want this kind of content more, you probably don't want to subscribe to this channel. You probably want to subscribe to the Dry Fasting Club and probably to Fasting with Trevor, because they are the experts. I'm just somebody who is trying this out and trying to make sense out of this. I'm not the expert on this topic. So for the next videos, I will probably make about crypto and making money with investing once again. So if you're interested in that topic, then you might want to consider subscribing to this channel. Anyway, that's it for the video. Hope you liked it. I will see you on the next one. Maybe. Bye bye.